Thank you very much, Dr. Aisha and your team. We have been here this afternoon and we have managed to go around the hospital, take a tour of the hospital, meet with some of the patients. And really today what it was about is just to sort of get familiar with the facility. One of my big things is healthcare. And I want to make sure that as a county, we have a functioning healthcare. And part of it is having good facilities with human resource, equipment, and patients who are well taken care of. So really, I have noted that the hospital it's in very good health, so to speak, despite obviously the fact that they would like to have a bit more resources pumped into the hospital. That I'm sure is everywhere that we go. We've also talked in general about the other facilities across the county and all that sort of stuff. And also, I'm sure that most of you noted as I campaigned around the county, one of my big things was on the morale of healthcare workers across the county. And part of it was the fact that many have been on contract for a long time and they have been wishing or wanting to make sure that they become permanent and pensionable. So those were some of the things that I was looking into, because I do believe that whatever campaign promises I made, I did not make them in vain, or I did not make them just to get elected into office, but really with the intention of streamlining those sorts of areas. So what we shall be doing is we are going to look into, we are going to have an ad hoc committee that will help us with the process. I can immediately confirm that as far as the promotions for healthcare workers that are due, within the next 60 days, we shall be able to handle that. In addition to that, the ad hoc committee then will help us come up with policies and budgets of conversion from those on contract. I know we have both the county contracts as well as hospital contracts. So there will be conversion into permanent and pensionable, and we are going to do it properly. So we are going to have an ad hoc committee in place so that, as I said, in my first 100 days, I want to make sure that that is taken care of. The policies are streamlined as well as budgets figured out so that we can make that a reality. In addition to that, one of my other big things was to make sure that many of the families, or most of our households in Nakuru County, have NHIF, because that is the only way that we'll be able to make sure we have a very healthy population, because when they need medical help or medical attention, then they are able to access it using the NHIF. Because as of right now, you find that there's too many households where they need treatment, where there is medical issues, but they are not able to access treatment. So that will be a part, or a big part, of what we shall be doing going forward. We had identified a few groups that we would start with, and part of those are those living with disability, those with disability. In addition to that is those over 65 years old, where the county would be catering for that, for the 6,000 per year for the NHIF. And in addition to that, the vulnerable, the ones who are completely not able. So we'll do it that way, and then as we go along over time, then bring in more people into that. But initially, those would be the groups that we would be starting with, and the indigents as well. So that's part of what we have been discussing today with Dr. Aisha and her team, and I believe that we are on track to do great things for this county, and especially as far as healthcare. In addition to that, earlier before we came here, we went around the town and visited the different stages. It's in the transport sector. So that has been one of the things that have probably needed a bit of attention in the last year or so. And we want to make sure that we do it right, that we get it right, that we leave the town quite organized and orderly, but at the same time take care of those in the transport sector, so that they are also in environments that are good for both those who work there and for those who are seeking their services for transport. We have visited the stage at KFA, Ziwani, Mashambani stage, the main one, or the city stage, Kwajak and all that, and we have noticed, or we have taken note of what it is that we need to do. We shall be retreating, and we are going to immediately form a task force beginning tomorrow that will help bring together the stakeholders, as well as those from our office, those in the transport sector, so that together we can come up with permanent solutions for the city that will be favorable and good for those in the transport sector, but also for the passengers and as well for the city and the businesses within the city. So the task force will come into play or into force from tomorrow, and that will be the first order of business, is help us do what some may remain where they are, but with facilities put up, or some will be moved and that sort of stuff. But let me not run too far ahead and just say that the task force will get us streamline that and get that done in an orderly manner. I think for today that is the extent of what we have been doing. I am heading to Bondeni Maternity to also take a look and see what's going on there. So it's quite a busy day, but we asked for the job and we believe we are up to the task. But I want to make sure that I have a very, very consultative government, so that it's not just really what I want, but really what the people of Nakuru County want. And I did say that wherever we can help and be humane, then we are going to make sure that we are humane. So what we have done is we have sat down with Dr. Aisha and her team and the waiver committee, and I have been able to have or to do a waiver for almost about 5 million shillings at this hospital, so that over 64 patients will be released, and some are little children. I just met a 7-year-old boy who had a fracture, but has since been taken care of, but has not been able to go home and is just laying in the bed. I've also met an older gentleman who had an accident, and he says his treatment took 2 months, but he's been here another extra month because he has been unable to raise the fees required. In addition to that, I have also discovered or found out that there is bodies that are laying at the mortuary that their loved ones have not been able to get them because they were unable to raise the money that was required to be paid, because some maybe were passed away while at ICU. So the family was unable to raise the money, so the bodies have been lying at the mortuary. So what we have done is, with immediate effect, we have said that those bodies be released to the families so that they can bury them with dignity. Thank you very much.